Hi, I'm Sally and this is my tutorial for the Minecraft character Steve. You will need black bands for his hair and his mouth, 2 blue and 2 white bands for his eyes. You will need some flesh colour bands, turquoise bands, purple bands and just a few grey for his feet. So let's make a start. So you will need to take your loom and you will need it in a straight configuration. So to do this, if you turn it upside down, and on the end of your hook you should have a tool that looks like this, and you can just use this to lift the blue part of your loom up like this, and then you should be able to lift this centre part out and just move it so it's straight to the other ones, and then just push it down. That's just in case you didn't realise, because I didn't realise, I didn't work that one out myself until someone showed me, so when you know how, it's always more obvious. But first we're going to make his arms, so we're going to take double turquoise band, no we're not, we're going to take a single turquoise band and we are going to wrap it like this, so it's a figure of 8 on there. We're going to go down with 2 bands, once on each side, so once in the centre and once at the side, and then we're going to go down 3 times with flesh coloured bands. I am trying a new camera angle, as I appreciate that the one I have been using, which was sort of so you were looking as if you were sat in front of me. It wasn't ideal. It was possibly a little confusing, which when you're trying to be taught how to do something isn't the best thing. So I'm trying it from this angle. So let me know if you think it's better. I think it might be slightly better. So it should look like this. And now we're going to do the exact same thing again for the second arm. So taking a single band, we're going to do a figure of 8, go down with 2 bands, so once at the side and once at the centre, and then 3 times with flesh coloured bands. Have at the moment. Now I'm going to place a cap band on this peg, this peg, this peg and this peg. So just a single band wrapped around the pin 3 times. On these 4 pins, I'm going to push those down. Next we're going to add in some horizontal bands, so we're going to take a single band like this, we're going to stretch it out and we're going to cross it over, double it around your fingers, and you're going to place them across every pin or every peg that's got a flesh coloured band on, so you won't need to do the end. place bands on these pins here, on these pins here, so that we can add it on to our main body when we've made it. So again, taking a single band and doubling it over, we're going to add it onto this pin here. So these four and these four, so the ones that we've just put the horizontal bands across, you're adding these doubled over bands onto. Experiment with my camera angles, and you can let me know what you think with them, which one you feel is best. But I'm working on it. So this is what you should have so far. If I just turn it round, and hopefully you can see. So single, two bands together but going down, once with the turquoise, three with the skin coloured. You've got the horizontal bands going across here and here, with cap bands on the ends, and then sort of adding on band, I suppose we could call it, on these four pins here. And then once you've done that, you're ready to loop up. So going in through your cap band, just pushing back all the horizontal bands and the add-on bands and everything, and just looping up. My band's just broken. Oops. And hopefully that will be okay. Just leave that for now, it shouldn't be a problem. Don't think that one broken bearing is going to affect things too much. So I've looped up one side, going to do the other side now. So I'm having to tilt it the other way just to get those bands. Right. There. And I'm just looping all the way up. So there's my first arm all looped up. Just going to do the second one. These bands are very tight. So what I'm going to do is, as my bands are very tight around this pin, and there's a chance that these bands will break again, I'm going to take an additional hook because I can't personally do it on the same hook with the bands around it. And I'm just going to hold on to this one, put it out of the way, and I'm just going to run around this pin like this and just loosen up the bands. So now hopefully I can pull these over that pin without losing any. And I'm going to continue to loop. Going up the other side. Have your two arms all looped up. Once you've done this, you can remove them. No, don't remove them just yet. You want to take these bands. So you're putting your hook in through your turquoise coloured band, and just looping that single band round on both, holding around your thumb if you need to. Place them both on your hook, and then if you place this band then over to the side or diagonally, or whichever pin you've got spare, because you don't want to tie this off, Do the same with the other one. If you can, just hold it on your hook, then hold it on your hook, and then just place it around. You could even just place it around your finger if you wish. I've just placed it around a spare pin, here and here, but whatever way is easiest for you. And we're going to remove this arm, and remove the broken band. Just place my finger over that attaching band just to try and stop it coming off. So there we have one arm, and I do the same to here. It's a little bit different to other designs where you add the arms on, because these also need to be fixed to the body as well as to his shoulders. So I'm just going to move these down to the end of the loom. So I'm just placing them on the bottom two pins. Like so. Just stretch them out if you need to. And we're going to make another small extension piece to add onto the bottom, so this will include his feet because the loom isn't quite long enough. So we're just going to take double purple bands, like so, and we're going to go down on each of these rows with one purple band, one set of purple bands, not one purple band, two bands together once. I'm sorry if you can hear them, my neighbours are really noisy. So you should have this. And now I'm going to place two bands together, going down once again with grey bands. So, there we go. Now you'll need to place a cap band on each of these bottom three pins here. So a single band wrapped 3 times. And the last one. And again, we're going to place on some horizontal bands. So we're just going to use 2 grey bands. So you won't need to double these over, you can just lay these across your loom, here and here, but not across here, because these three, the bands on these 3 pins, excuse me, will just be added on to the end of the design once we've finished. So we're just going to loop up, so through the horizontal band, through the cap band, finding the bottom 2 bands and looping them up, being careful not to pull them over. Same again, in through all these bands and looping up, and the same again, and looping up, going in through the horizontal bands, doing the grey, doing the purple, so you have something like this, hopefully exactly like that. And again, we're going to move this, we're just going to move this and place it onto another hook. So I have a spare hook here. If you don't have a spare hook, you can take it off and place it at the bottom of your loom. So it's entirely up to you, but I'm going to use a spare hook. And I'm just going to lift off the hooks here, so just going in through one, then the next and then the next, and then just removing it carefully from my loom. And then we have his feet like that. So I'm just going to place this to one side, and now we can start to lay out his body. So we're going to start with his hair. side to the centre pin, and the same again to the other peg. So you have 2 bands here and 2 bands here going straight across the top of your loom. We are now going to do a row here of 2 black bands together, just going all the way across. Some of these bands are really, really tiny, slightly odd. And then we're going to go down 1 on each side again with the black. So I will show you once I've done this what you should have so far before we swap colours, just in case the angle isn't as great. So that's what you should have so far with the black. So there's his hair. We're now going to do the skin colour of his face. So we're going to fill in this middle one here in between the black with the 2 skin coloured bands, and then we are going to do 2 rows of skin coloured bands. So just going straight across with the skin coloured bands, like so. And same again across the next row like this. Okay. So this is what you should have. So you've got 1 flesh colour here in between the 2 black at the side, and the rest are all skin coloured bands going down twice on each column. So the next row we're going to put skin coloured bands on the 2 sides, like this and like this, and then a black one, bands flying everywhere, in the centre, so the complete opposite to what we did up here. So you have 2 skin coloured, this is all double bands, 2 bands together, and that's the next row. And then we're going to swap colour, and we are going to do 4 rows of turquoise. So we're going down on each of the columns 4 times with 2 turquoise bands together, or double turquoise bands, however you prefer to it. I prefer to say 2 bands together because it get confusing sometimes with the doubling of the bands up, so I just want to make sure that it's not too confusing. But yeah, as long as you know what I mean, it doesn't really matter how I say it. So on the last column, this is what you should have now. So we've got going down 4 times on each row with 2 turquoise bands, like that. And now we're going to add in the arms. So taking your hook, just going to remove the arm from your loom and place it where you've put, so let's just come off my hook, where you've put the first of the turquoise bands, and that is the 6th pin down. I can't count. 6th pin down. So you're just going to place those 2 bands that's holding it all together over this pin here. It would be helpful as well, which I should have mentioned before you attach it, that you make sure you get the right way round. So just flip it over, because you will need, you'll see one edge has got sort of a frill where you've added in that side to face inwards. Okay. And then to do the extension, if you just work your way down the arm, pulling out the little circly loops. You can see, hopefully you can. And we're just going to place these over. So there's the first one done. So I'm just placing it over the loops here. And again, working down, finding the next loop. You should have 2 bands there. I'm just going to pull those down and loop them over the next one. Same again with the next loop, which is sticking out ever so slightly, like this. Oh no, this one here needs to go at the bottom. Just realised I've missed one out, so I'm just going in and finding that one. I thought, just make sure you've got the 4. Just thought to myself, I'm sure I put 4 on, I've only found 3. So you should cover 5 pegs with this extension piece, and this is what it should look like that. I'm going to do the other one. So doing the exact same thing, making sure you get the right way around. So placing it over. And finding the little loops and pulling them over the hook. So as you find a loop, you're working down the next pin to the next pin to the next pin. You should have 4 little loops. The last one is the easiest to find. It sort of sticks out the bottom. And push them down. So this is what it should look like. How's your anything singing? She's slightly large for you. There we go. I forgot I was on camera then for a second. Truly is one of those days. But anyway, moving on. So now we're going from this pin here down to the end of our loom. So we're going down 3 times with 2 bands that are purple. Ever so slightly embarrassed myself. But never mind, let's not dwell on it. Let's just say I've been doing an awful lot of looming recently. I think you can gather by the rate that the videos are being uploaded onto YouTube. About every other day I'm adding a few, and in between the adding up I'm coming up with new designs. So pretty much my days are spent looming and other boring things. Not that looming's boring, but looming isn't boring. There are other things that are boring, I know. So this is what you should have, and I'm going to stop waffling now. This is what you should have now, like this. So you've got his hair, his face, this band here is his mouth, this black band, and we've got his top with his arms attached, and then the purple of his trousers. And once you have this, you're going to add on the extension piece at the bottom. So taking it off of your hook, so I was just thinking, if you put it on the ends of your loom, how you'd get around it. I hope you haven't. How would you get around that one? Because it would have been in your way. I'm just adding these loops into the bottom while I'm thinking about this. I suppose what you could do is, if this is the problem that you have, you could go down as far as you can on your loom. Go down as far as you can on your loom, lay the bands, and then move the extension piece up or along the side on top of the bands you've already laid, and then move them back again and place them along the bottom. Do it that way, I guess. I can't really think at the moment of another way. that you could do it, but that's what we have so far. So we need to make his eyes. So we're going to take our hook, this hook. Now I'm using blue for his eyes. You could use purple, or if you wanted to make them a bit differently, you can use whatever colour you want. So you need 2 blue, 2 white, and 1 flesh coloured band, and I've just realised that is off camera and you can't see what I'm doing. So let's just move them down here. There we go, you can see. It's always helpful. You're going to take one of the blue bands and we're going to place it around our hook 3 times, like this. And now we're going to take, let's make sure I'm doing this the right way around, which I'm not. Okay, so just take this white band here, just loop it around, over going to the other side of it, so the white and then the blue, like this. And now we're going to do the opposites. Now we're going to do blue and then white. So it's like this. Taking the flesh coloured band, placing it over the end of your hook, holding it with your finger. We're just going to slide all of these bands over the hook and onto the flesh coloured band. Like so. So you have, I'm going to separate these so it's easy for you to see, white then blue, and then blue and then white. And now you want to place it so that the white bands are on the outside and the blue are in the middle. So you want to place them across 4 pins. I'm just double checking because I don't want to get this wrong, because that's annoying, get things wrong. So 4th pin, and you're going straight across the face with these bands. So you're making sure that you're putting it across with the white on the outside, blue on the outside, but I don't really think you can go too far wrong if you put them on the band right. Like this. And it doesn't really matter which way round these bands are. What we are going to do is we're going to take our hook in between these 2 flesh coloured bands here, and we're going to lift one of these bands over the centre pin, and it will help it sit flatter. So that's what the eye should look like. So around the 4th pin on each side, and then you should have this middle band in between the eyes, the 2 parts, just lift over the top part and place it on this side of the pin. So you've got 1 part on this side and 1 part underneath, like that. Now we're going to place on some horizontal bands, so dependent on the colour that you've got. So for instance, you want to place purple bands on top of purple and the turquoise on the turquoise, black on the black, so it doesn't show when it's done. I am going to place one across the bottom 3 pins to try and keep it as tight and as together as we can. So I'm just going across 3 pins, so I will show you now what I'm doing. So I'm just taking one single band and just going across and looping them around each row, like that. And I'm just going to work my way up my loom. Where you have 2 colours, it's up to you which colour you'd like to use, as long as it's one or the other. And I'm just going all the way up, like so. Don't place one over the top of the eyes. The eye band that you have on there now will act as a horizontal band. And you won't need one on the top row either. So, you've got horizontal bands running all the way from the bottom up to here. Won't need them on here because you already have some bands going across here. And the eye band is your horizontal band on those 3 pins. So if you're not quite at this this stage yet, I'd like to pause the video, and then when you're ready, pop back and we will loop up this design. So basically looping up is really easy. All we're going to do is just loop straight up each of the rows as if you're making a bracelet, just going inside the horizontal bands, just looping forwards the bottom two. So I'm just going to work my way up like so. And when you get to the extension pieces of the arms, so for instance, I'll show you here, I've looped up this purple one, the green ones are the ones I laid, and the flesh colour one is the extension. Go inside the extension and just loop up the bottom two of the turquoise. So where you've got the extension bands, just go in through them and push them out of the way with the back of your hook, and you're only looping the bottom two. And on this design there are no exceptions, it's just the bottom two all the way up. It's a bit tricky inside the extension pieces, but not impossible. There we go. I'm going in and looping up the flesh coloured bands. Looping up there, in through the eye bands, because it's just a horizontal band, so don't worry. And then onto the black, looping up there. Looping up to there. So I've looped up the first row, and I'm just going to carry on and do the next two rows. Sorry, I have to go up and I can't quite find it. There we go. Just finding those bottom two bands and just looping up. And I do have a slight confession to make, that you probably may have already guessed. I have never played Minecraft. I've never seen any gameplay of Minecraft. My son doesn't even play Minecraft, but my friend's son does. So this is for him. I won't say his name, but you will know who he is. So if this isn't quite accurate, that'll be why, because I've only had pictures to go by rather than actual sort of gameplay. But hopefully it's pretty much spot on. I hope it is anyway. If it's not and the colours aren't quite right, then just change them so that they are right. From what I've seen, I think this is pretty much spot on. The eyes may not be the right colour. The eyes possibly are purple, I'm not sure. But to be honest, I don't have time to play Minecraft. I'm too busy looming. So there we go. So I'm all looped up. Now when it comes to these bands on the end, if you place them on in the same order I did, so starting from the left and into the middle and then to the right, you will need to loop the right hand band first, but basically you'll be able to see here that you've got one set of bands under the other. It's not easy to see. So this one is on top of this one. So I'm going to loop the ones that are on top first, and I'm looping these into the centre, and that band has just flipped off of my hook and it's just sitting there, so I'm just going to get that. Whoops. Slippery bands. Just push those down. So there we go. And now the band that's underneath, I'm going to go in through the centre pin, loop it onto this side pin, and this is where we're going to tie it off. So I'm going in through the centre pin, pushing all the other ones out of the way, making it round and onto that pin there. So once you're all looped up, and you've done this, so top bands first, then the bottom bands. Whichever side you're finished on, if you started going from left to right, you'll finish on the left pin. If you do it the other way around, you'll finish on the right. Either way is absolutely fine. We're going to tie off. So we're going to take double or two, which is double black bands, placing our hook in through this pin here, so it's going in through the top and sticking out the side. Place the two black bands over the pin, hold them on your finger and pull them tight, and hopefully they're not going to jump off, but to be honest they usually do, and there we go. Being a smarty pants today, doing it first time. So you've got both ends on your hook, take the top half over the bottom half and pull tight, and okay, there we go. And then once you've tied him off and he's secure, you can remove him. So I'm doing part hook, part hand for removing him. Whichever way is easiest for you. And you're just working up your loom, just removing him. Move the loom out of the way. Make sure that once you've removed him from the loom, you secure these tying off bands, so just make sure that they are tight. Stretch him out, make sure that his eyes are where they should be. Stretch him out, make sure that he's all as you want him to be. And everything. And then we have our Steve. So this is what he should look like when he's finished. There we go. So ignoring the noisy people outside, I hope you've enjoyed making him. You can have him whichever way around you want, but I do have bands across here. I'm just going to move around to the back because I think that's probably the better side for him. So there we have a pair of sleeves. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed making him. I will be putting on and doing other Minecraft character tutorials, which will probably be on about the same time as this one, so they're already on. If there's any other ones that you'd like me to attempt for you, I will always do my best to do that for you. Okay, it doesn't look quite right then. As always, I am on Instagram at Sally's Looming, so you can share your finished creations with me on there. I'm also on Twitter, again at Sally's Looming, so follow me on both, that would be great, and share what your ones look like, or let me know if I've got anything wrong. I'm also on Facebook, so if you search Sally's Looming, or one word, you'll find my group on there as well. So again, you can share pictures or make requests on any of my social media accounts. Is that the right way of saying it? I think you get what I mean anyway. Please like, comment, let me know what you think of the tutorial and of the design and of any of my designs. And subscribe to be notified when I bring out new tutorials. that's that. So, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed making him, and I'll see you next time. Bye.